All right, so hello everybody. What we're going to do here is just do a little bit of overview about what's going on with the campaign 2016, and we have a debate going on tonight. And so the thing that we want to focus on here is who's going to be on the stage, and then what we're going to be. I'm going to give you some tools for tracking or watching the debate and tracking your impressions, and then you can share those tomorrow with the campaign team. Just to review, what's happening here is there's of the two major parties in the United States. First off, let's start in 2016. The president's term is up, and there will be an election to replace him. The two major parties, will field candidates. Those candidates will be selected in about summer of next year, and then those candidates will compete against each other to win the majority of the electoral votes, which is basically how the states, the voters in the states choose people to vote for the president, or choose people who they decide represent their votes for the president. We'll get into that more later. What we're talking about right now is the different candidates choosing the different parties rather choosing their candidates for president. So the two parties are the Republican Party and the Democratic Party. And we're not going to focus on the Democratic Party right now because there's a debate tonight. So we'll focus on the Republican Party. And as I mentioned during our campaign meeting yesterday, there's a lot of candidates that are running for president, about 17 or 16 candidates. And so they've split those candidates into two different groups. And it's based on how currently popular those groups are with the polling that is done, where they select a small group of people and say, who are you interested in? And then based on their answers, they rank them. So the top 10 people are going to be debating tonight at 8 o'clock Eastern on CNN. And I think it's the top 11 people, actually. And on that list are Ted Cruz, Rand Paul, Marco Rubio, Ben Carson, Carly Fiorina, Mike Huckabee, skip down a little bit here, Jeb Bush, Donald Trump, Chris Christie, Scott Walker, John Kasich. The people who I did not mention are going to be debating on a preliminary debate, and those are people who are below the top 11 people. So what I've done is I've provided you a couple of items. One is a candidate review, and this is something where I want you to fill this out and identify who this person is. You know, Donald Trump, businessman, television producer; Ben Carson, doctor, neurosurgeon; Ted Cruz, senator, Florida, etc. And then based on watching the debate, what are your impressions of this person? What did you see from this person? And then the next column over, for you personally, did this person move up or down? Do you like them more or less in terms of as a potential candidate for president? That's one form. The next form that I've provided is question tracking. And here you can say what number question it is. Then you can write down, just do notes for the question. Who was the question directed to? So if it's a question for Ben Carson, you'd write Ben Carson here. And then a lot of times what happens is other people respond after the person has answered. The moderators, the people who are the media people who are moderating the debate, will say, do you have anything to say about that? So track that. And then here you can put your notes from the response, just noting what was said, anything interesting. But so this could be saying if this was a question about immigration, or if this was a question about taxes, or if this was a question about the Iran deal or something like that, you can put that here. So use this note form, and I'm just going to give you a form. You can print up as many as you want in order to track the questions. And so we'll just see. This is just sort of a way to be more focused while you're watching the debate. This form here, I'd like for you to keep track of, and then tomorrow I'll give you an opportunity online to share some of your results. So that's where we stand with regards to the who's running for president. Let's just identify quickly why this is all happening. So the Republican Party is going to have a convention in June of this year, and at that convention, whatever candidate has the most delegates is going to be the president. And what a delegate is, each state has a certain number of delegates, a certain number of people, representatives. And those representatives then raise their hand and say, I want Donald Trump. I want Marco Rubio. I want whomever. And they are supposed to raise their hand based on the voting that happens in their state's primaries. So for instance, let's just pull up our primary list here. Oops, primary list here. So our first primary, or what's called a caucus, which is slightly different from a primary, but effectively the same, is in Monday, February 1st. And on Monday, February 1st, 2016, the people in Iowa will vote. The Republicans in Iowa will vote. And based on their votes, the delegates from that state, let's just say, I don't know the numbers off the top of my head, but let's say that there are 100 delegates in Iowa. Well, if they will be, those delegates will be placed into the different candidates' camps based on how the people of Iowa voted. So some states are winner take all. Some states are proportional representation. So if you win 40% of the vote, then you get 40% of the delegates. And there are some changes that the Republican Party has done to make the process work better for them. So we'll take a look and see what are the number of delegates for each state and what is the how the delegates are split up. But what you want to remember here is just that this process going through all of the states, these delegates are going to be awarded or allocated, and then it's a question of how many delegates are you collecting. And I think the number from 2012, the 2012 election was 1,144, that you needed 1,144 delegates in order to be nominated. You needed that many people voting for you. And let's just assume for the sake of argument that that is what we're looking at here today. So what we're going to be seeing, these debates, it's still 4 months until February. But these debates are where the candidates are introducing themselves to the people. They're going to be responding to questions from the moderators, and they're going to be seeking to win the votes of the Republicans who vote in these primaries. So that's what we're going to be seeing here. Take a look at these forms, and hopefully you'll have a good time watching the debates tonight.